What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unleashed. I'm your host, Derrick Gates. I have an amazing guest with me today. I can't even express to you how amazing this guest is. I've known this guest for quite a while. We met him out on the campaign trail when I was running for Congress and fighting for our freedoms. And I watched him go through go through a lot. You went viral at least 4 times that I know of.
Yeah, a couple times. Couple times.
Philly Dad. That's what they called you? Philly Dad?
Yeah. I became a zaddy. I had to learn what that was.
Wait, I don't know what that is.
I think it's when, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's when a black woman thinks a white man is attractive and is also of dad age. I become a zaddy. I don't know how it comes from.
Did you embrace that?
Oh, yeah. Of course I did. Who wouldn't?
That's good.
Yeah.
Talk right up in that if you can.
Oh, yeah. I can sit up closer.
Yeah, there we go.
I get uncomfortable with things this shape in my mouth.
Yeah, well, it does.
I don't live in Vegas anymore, and I don't do drugs, so.
It does happen. So, we...
You're being rude. You're fake.
Oh, I thought I was going to say fake news.
You're fake. Stop being rude. You're fake news.
So, we could talk about a whole... a broad scope of subjects that you and I have gotten into at the time we've known each other, and it would be entertaining and amazing. But one of the subjects you had brought up recently, but it's a hot subject right now, which is kind of amazing. I went my whole life without hearing about this until I kind of got into conspiracy theories, and then it's like, oh, wait a second, probably not. Is one of them I haven't believed. I still don't believe. It's hard for me to, but I would say what I told you earlier, I said, let's stop talking about it. Let's save it for the podcast. I am flat earth agnostic.
Flat earth. Okay.
Flat earth agnostic.
Is that why you brought me on today?
You are a flat earther. That's the term, correct?
That's the term that people that are into the globe give anybody that has a different opinion.
Right. So
because there's a gamut, Yeah, this I can prove wrong, no problem.
So
I can definitely prove that we're not on a spinning spheroid hurling through space.
Right.
Whether or not I can prove to you that we're on a flat pancake or not, that's yet to be determined, because I don't know if there's more levels. A lot of people, when they hear flat earth, they think this like pancake floating in the sky, where after Antarctica, there's nothing and we're just hovering there. That's not what many flat earthers believe, but that's what the propaganda machines will tell people, that's what flat earthers think the earth is.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Does this trigger you? A rocket?
No, it's adorable. I mean, science fiction is awesome.
But you don't believe rockets you don't believe rockets are real?
Oh, no. I mean, rockets are real. They send those things up and then they curve out and they end up in the Bermuda Triangle. Some of them are very real.
I have seen the videos where it appears that rockets, when they do launch, their trajectory is up, and then where are we going?
Yeah, like what are we doing now? Yeah. You're putting all that fuel on there to shoot you straight up out into the atmosphere. You'd think you've already programmed where you're headed to just go straight up, because the shortest distance
what's their
between
excuse?
2 points is a straight line.
What's their excuse? What is they say? Well, we're aiming for such and such space, so blah 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 blah.
They have a million excuses.
Right. Okay. So tell me, what was it that pulled you in the direction of? I mean, have you always been this way?
Oh no.
How long?
And in fact, I was one of those people that'd be like, "You're crazy."
Right.
Like, of course we're on a globe. Like, what are you talking about? But I never really gave it any attention.
Right.
It wasn't ever something I ever pondered. But then when COVID hit and everything got put in the lockdowns and stuff, and a few of my friends had mentioned some things out there. And again, I was a very different person. I was very selfish with my time. I was doing a lot of comedy and hanging out and drinking. And I never really put much effort into any deep thought. But then once I started realizing, like, there's all these lies that the government is sending out in there, maybe I need to give this a little bit more thought.
Right.
Because what I needed to do is establish the why. Why would they lie about this?
Right. And that's, I think I'm there. I'm there. It's like, why? Okay, let's say it's true. Why? What's the purpose?
Yeah, right. And exactly. Why would they?
So
And
why?
As a man of God, and as a Derrick baptized me 2 Halloweens ago. In case you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah, cold.
Could be on Jeopardy one day.
It was cold.
Yeah. It was cold. So why would they change to a globe? So when you think about it, everything we're experiencing now is all about control.
Yeah.
And everything they're pushing on us with climate change and everything and limited amount of resources. Even the term fossil fuels is a lie. Oil does not come from bones that have degenerated. Right. Oil has been proven to be a regenerative. That's
the word.
Yeah.
Can we get a dictionary, please?
A regenerative substance that comes from the earth, almost like the earth's blood kind of thing, if you will. So that's already a lie. So we know it's not scarce. It does regenerate. There is ample amount of oil. Okay, well, that's an interesting lie. And then what else would they have to gain by enclosing us and saying there isn't more land outside of Antarctica? Right. And that's when, if you want to get into a more flatter plane design of Earth, a lot of flat earthers believe that Antarctica is an ice like ring around water.
Ice wall.
Because water always finds its level. That's a property of water. You put it in any container of glass, it's always going to find its level. That's why it's called sea level, not sea curve. So if there's land beyond the ice wall, well, now we have more resources. So wait, so you're telling me I can go live in a land that isn't controlled by any of our tyrannical governments or anything now? They can't have
So
that.
what's the theory?
Lose all their people.
What's beyond that? Like just another civilization where the hierarchy lives? Or
I mean, from my understanding and from the research I've done and the hours and hours of time I put in, yeah, there's beings out there. Humanoids, some other things, some
reptiles.
Other things. I'm sure they're probably below us too. So, that was a good one. So if it's all about control, how much easier would it be to control you if I convince you that you're a random piece of stardust that started with a bang? At one point, you were just an amoeba, and then you, through billions of years of evolution, you became this. And now you're also spinning at 1,100 miles an hour while also orbiting a sun at 66,600 miles an hour, 666, anyone? While also hurling through space at 500 million miles a year. And yet, it's the complete denial of all of your senses from the day you're born. Nobody feels a spin. But I can feel a breeze from a fan. If I tap my brakes when I'm driving, I feel that. So why wouldn't I feel 1,100 miles an hour? Oh, and the people that believe in the globe will say, well, because everything's moving at 1,100 miles an hour, so you just adjust to it.
Right.
Okay, cool. You have a globe right there, right? To fly from New York to LA takes 6 hours, right? 6 hour journey. On the way back, it's like 5.5 because of the jet stream. Well, how does that make sense? If this thing is spinning, right, one way, one trip should be way shorter than the other. It's not.
Oh, right, because you're going through.
Right. Because on one way, the Earth is moving towards the plane, and on the other, it's moving away from the plane. So how does that make any sense? In theory, if this thing is moving at 1,100 miles an hour, and this is 3,000, this is like 3,400 miles from New York to LA, I should be able to just hover above California, and this Earth would rotate under me, and then I could just go down in 3 hours. But that's not the case.
Right.
And if you look up all flight patterns, this is all, like this for the audience. All flight patterns go across the north and if there's a book, it's called The 16 Emergency Landings That Prove the Earth is Flat. Because there's no way they would take these long about routes. They have to land somewhere.
So let me ask you this. How in the world, so obviously anybody who's in the Air Force would know this.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Anybody in NASA would know it. Anybody in the government would know. Anybody that sailors would know.
They do.
What keeps them quiet? That's thousands upon thousands, and not just from our country, every country. What keeps everybody quiet?
Well, not everybody is.
Right.
There's plenty of pilots out there who've been interviewed by people on planes and stuff. They're like, yeah, it's a flat plane. Even flight patterns are designed to be on a flight plane. Architects don't account for this. NASA, as you know, comes from Project Operation Paperclip,
right,
headed by a Nazi. It's all propaganda, and they're siphoning billions of dollars a day or hundreds of millions of dollars a day in taxpayer money to show you some CGI. Where are all
Is this like Project Bluebeam type stuff?
Well, Bluebeam are fake images, right?
Yeah,
I mean, this is CGI, so I guess
but they're part of it.
To that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're totally part of it. So there are people there, but what keeps them silent? I mean, look,
money. I mean, do you think people are getting paid?
Yeah, heck yeah, people get paid.
Okay, so
I mean, look at what we're experiencing with the jab and COVID.
Right.
Look at how many doctors won't come out, but the few that are silenced. So I bet you there are people. Look at Buzz Aldrin. He admitted to that little girl and time again that
we never went to the moon.
We never went to the moon. So there's a
that was what convinced me.
Completely perpetrated.
That was what convinced me about not going to the moon. Was to hear somebody like him say that. So I'm there. I mean, I'm on that part. Like I don't believe that we went to the moon. I don't believe we went to the moon then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not convinced that we've not been to space since then. Yeah. I understand. I would understand the why of why we'd fake the moon landing. I get that. You know, we're in a space race against, Soviet Union. And so people that are space races,
hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's make a space race.
Yeah, let's make a space race.
If the Russian government
and then let's film it in the desert, in the Arizona desert or something.
Exactly.
So in your opinion, and as far as I've noticed, because I haven't spent hundreds of hours doing this, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But I have looked. Because just out of curiosity, my father-in-law, he's a flat earther, and he really, I mean, he knows the facts. I mean, he'll spit the facts all day long, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just not convinced, and mainly I'm not convinced, just to be honest, because maybe some people just don't want to be convinced. It's like it blows everything you ever wanted.
It's the lie of all lies.
And many times over the last, I don't know, however many years, I'm going live. I've just wanted to retake the blue pill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like things are more comfortable with the blue pill,
A lot more comfortable.
When you take that red pill, all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, where did we ever know truth about anything? And so I think that's part of it. But so to reverse this some, so you don't believe we've been to space at all, or even the existence of space, because some people don't believe, like, they don't believe the sun's out there. They believe the sun's like just literally right above, and it's kind of hovering above the earth, and the moon's kind of doing the same thing maybe, or whatever. You don't believe it's this massive thing. It's more like a smaller
local,
like energy core that
like 3,000 miles out of it. Yeah.
Local neighborhood,
so
in the neighborhood.
There's a lot
it's in the neighborhood.
In everything you just said.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
So, first of all,
we'll be back in 5 hours.
Is space?
Yeah.
No, it is not a vacuum. It is the fourth density of water. First of all, space, you cannot have two different atmospheres next to each other where one is a vacuum. So if space is a vacuum, how is our atmosphere kept? That's not how the properties of gases
What do
work.
scientists say?
So
these scientists, they say with the gravity, density, everything keeps it together.
Yeah, gravity, which is something, is also a theory
but gas, and I would agree with this, but I'm not a scientist either, by any means. I'm just a guy.
I was a bio major, if that counts.
I remember you saying that on, what was that show you're on? The Young Turks?
Yeah, one of their affiliates.
I remember. I watched it. I was laughing. But
I killed that guy.
You did. You really did. But it doesn't make sense to me that, the atmosphere is gas. Gas dissipates. It
finds its level.
Since when does gravity affect? If gravity affected gas, then gas would always remain on the ground level, not right. So I agree with that.
Gravity is easily disproved by all the properties of density.
What? So Newton was wrong? Was he in on it?
Newton was also a Freemason.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's an unproven force that can easily be shown and proven through gravity. I mean, through density. Right. Because look, if you believe that we're on a globe, right? So this gravity is so strong that it's holding oceans to a ball that's spinning. You ever take a wet tennis ball and hit it?
Yeah, the water
So when
flies
it's
everywhere,
spit-
right?
No, but it flies off at the equator, if you will, of the ball.
Oh,
It
yeah,
all
yeah,
goes
yeah, it
there
does.
And it spins out
Oh,
in a
it
perfect
does.
spiral.
It does.
So we're spinning with all this water and it's not going anywhere. So gravity is so strong, you're telling me, that it's keeping all this water attached to it. However, if I'm to believe we're in America and Australia is upside down from us, right? So one of us is upside down.
Right.
So how could I be on
Oh,
a
and it's not
boat?
like-
How could I be on a boat and let a balloon go and the balloon flies off the boat? If this force is so strong, it's holding an ocean
Right.
to the curve. How does a bee fly? How would I be able to lift my arm? This force would have to be so strong that it makes water not obey its single principle that water will always find its level.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so
All
that's
right.
one thing. The sun. You can easily prove the sun is local based on corpuscular rays. Okay.
What was that
simple
word?
Geometry. Corpuscular.
You said simple.
spell it.
You said simple. That doesn't sound simple.
Yeah. Spelling corpuscular, not simple. I think that's a corpuscular. Right? I don't know.
Well,
Anyway,
tell me what's the
okay,
word mean?
So when you're looking through, when you see clouds, right?
Right.
And you see the rays coming through.
Yep.
A lot of people will say, "Oh, that's just refraction." No. If it was refraction, you'd have rays jumping off all over the place.
Right, it would reflect.
What it is,
Yeah.
it would reflect. It wouldn't always be like a perfect pyramid. Okay.
Right.
So it's shining through the cloud because it's not hitting any particles of the cloud. It's free. So if this is the land and I'm the sun and I'm sending rays like this, you can pinpoint where one ray is, where another ray is, make sure these are at even levels of ground, like at sea level or wherever.
Right.
Measure this distance, angle, side, angle, you can determine your focal point. That's how all lighting works.
Okay.
So it's roughly the sun, based on these numbers, roughly 3,000 miles above the Earth.
I mean, that's like across the United States and a little further.
No. That 3,000. Yeah.
It's
I
not
guess
very
so.
far.
It's not very far because we fly at 30,000
But we can't reach
feet,
it.
which is 6.
Because is it outside of the so tell them about the firmament, right?
No, I believe it's inside.
Okay.
But the sun and the moon are inside the firmament.
So for
And they
people that
work
may watch
almost
this,
like
they don't know what the
spotlights.
firmament is. So
The firmament
it's
is
biblical.
the dome, if you will.
And the firmament's in the Bible.
Yeah. It's in the Bible. Or what people would even just call on a globe the atmosphere.
Right.
Because at some point your atmosphere ends and space begins.
Right.
Which again, if you think I can launch a rocket or space shuttle through our atmosphere that just enters into space, so there's nothing in between those, why wouldn't our atmosphere just escape?
Right.
So you're telling me gravity is holding all of that together? That doesn't make any sense.
So this puts a real killer on Elon Musk.
Oh,
So-
well, yeah. I mean, he's
Yeah.
a complete wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right. Well, I've never trusted. I like what he's doing with Twitter. I'll use it, but I've never trusted, bro. As soon as he started talking about this chip, what's the chip called? The nano chip, Neuralink.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah, but he also said he wants to turn Twitter into WeChat, and WeChat is what China uses for their social credit system. So he's luring all these conservative opinions and voices onto Twitter.
And he
so
has
people are gonna
everybody's
spout
information in the world right now.
And once that switches over to WeChat and there's a social credit system, he's got you for saying so many things that everybody that's on there blasting their mouth is going to be screwed. This is a guy that said AI is the biggest threat to humanity, but wants to put chips in your brain.
But, yeah,
he's
he's involved
Miles
in it.
Dyson from Terminator. He's making Skynet,
He's the guy.
but he calls it Starlink.
We're in trouble.
Well, yeah. So his whole SpaceX thing. Oh, I put a convertible in space. The F you did. No, that's a complete lie.
Right.
None of that's real. He's also setting up all the surveillance and stuff in Ukraine right now. That dude is not to be trusted.
No, I would agree with that.
not to be trusted.
It's very, very, very sketch.
So
There's
his
a lot of
SpaceX
sketch.
thing is a lie. Richard Branson saying he's doing that. That dude's a huge pedophile. That's a lie. Bezos with his little ship. I mean, these guys are
Wow,
really getting
we're
up so
really
high.
going in there. We're really going.
Oh, I mean, if you don't know, that guy's a pedophile.
No, I do. I'm sure he was
sure
on the
anybody
list,
watching
right?
this would
He was on
probably-
the list, right?
He has his own island.
Yeah, right. He has his own island.
Wait, what's the name of his thing? Oh, Virgin. Oh, what a coincidence.
Truth.
What a
Truth.
coincidence.
Okay.
So anyway, back to flat Earth. Okay, so
back to flat Earth.
so
There's
the sun works like a spotlight. okay, it can't illuminate all of the area. Like if I took a flashlight and shined it this high on that corner, you're not going to see any light on this corner.
Right.
And why can't
So,
we see it? Go ahead.
It's so what they say. So if you have,
Can I pick this up?
Yeah, well, no, it's plugged in. But
Here, like this. If this is my
Yep.
Earth flat, see, this is too curved for me. If this is my flat Earth, right? Like one of these,
Such fake.
one of like the sun is like this,
Right.
But it can only illuminate so much area at a time.
I got you.
And as it moves between the Tropic of Cancer
And the other side has a
Capricorn,
moon,
that's
right?
what
So
determines,
sun's here and moon's here, and they move kind of in.
Yeah, kind of
in
on
course,
the
yeah.
same speed, right?
Okay.
And the reason why there's seasons is because the sun moves between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. So as the sun is closer to the North Pole, if you will, that's when people in the northern hemisphere have summer. Whereas it's going towards the Tropic of Capricorn is the lower one, is the southern one. That one brings it closer to Australia. That's
Okay.
why they have summer and we have winter.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I get it.
So if the sun were 90 million miles away, again, they use these fantastical numbers so that you won't even think about it.
Right.
Oh, we're spinning at 1100, going 66,000 miles at 500, 93 million. It's so big that you wouldn't even think to try to calculate because you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to figure that out.
Oh yeah, they're smarter than
But
me.
if I use my common
Right.
sense and if I use all my God-given senses, I can see these lines and like, hey, wouldn't geometry tell me that side angle, I should be able to determine the focal? Yes. So if the sun were this, so far away, every ray would be parallel
right.
hitting the earth. You would not see triangles coming through a cloud. You would see one straight ray the whole time.
Right.
Because it would be such a negligible change of angle. So here's the thing. You might not believe that Earth is flat. I don't know exactly what I believe. But as you poke holes in each of the arguments and you start to dissect the globe theory that we're moving around this, that, and the other, then you can start to put pieces together to try to formulate what you think it could be.
Right. Right. Because you have some interest. You were briefly on the phone with me the other day. We talked about it briefly, and you were saying some stuff I had never heard before. I was like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Did they say that?" And you're like, "No, they don't say that, but I say that." So
My bubble wrap theory?
well, I haven't
paper?
heard the bubble wrap.
Paper?
No, I haven't heard that one. I don't think you told me that. You were telling me about. You thought that maybe there were multiple levels. Like
Beneath us.
one flat, whatever, and down.
Yeah.
So, but let me ask you this, because this is on my mind. So, in your estimation, how big do you think it is? Like, okay, so if there's an ice wall and there's something on the other side, if that's the case, how far does it go? And after that, what's there? What's at the end?
Infinite. I don't know if there's
I've thought about that
multiple dimensions.
I've thought about that with the same thing with the universe. It's like, okay, the universe is expanding through space, if that's the case,
Right.
as he rolls his eyes. But what's on the other side? It's like, okay, what, and these are things I had to ponder about God. It's like, okay, so God spoke this into existence. His creative mind spoke this into existence. What was here before that? Did he just birth something out of nothing? There was nothing here, and for how long was nothing here? Your mind can really go the distance on this stuff.
So wait, let's take that.
Okay. All right.
God said, "Let there be light."
Right.
That is everything. Okay? The voice of God, sound. God said,
Frequency, yeah.
"Let there be light."
Yeah.
So he impacted his frequency on what he's now creating as light to give it form.
Right.
So everything is light and sound.
Yeah.
And through his creation, made other creators and other vibrations and other ones and other ones and other ones, all the way down to we're at our level of consciousness here.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Which a lot of people would say was because we turned away from God.
Right.
So this is why we're experiencing this until we remember, oh my God, we're not a human being. We're a spiritual being having a human experience. Right? So
We're made to his image. So
atheists,
right.
globe, all day.
Right.
You're not going to meet anybody in the flat earth that believes in God. I mean,
Right.
Anybody. Yeah. I think I said that right.
Nobody. Yes.
Everybody that's into flat earth believes in God.
Right.
Because it's so much easier for me to make you think there's no God if you think everything is random and you're just stardust.
Right.
Everything is so mathematically perfect. That's why I have this Fibonacci sequence tattooed on my hand. This ratio,
What was that?
So this is a mathematical representation that represents
Getting
the
way too carried away here.
Fibonacci sequence. So what this is, because it's amazing and it's in every living thing, if you take a circle
Right.
and you make 5 even lines in it like a pentagon, and you connect this long ways connection here, right? You got these two coming down here. You connect the ratio between that line and this line is 1.18. Blah, 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 blah,
It'll
blah,
always
blah,
be
blah.
that way.
It is in every living thing.
Right.
It's the difference from here to here to here to here, from here to here to here to here. It's mathematically perfect. So something, I call it God, had to architect this.
Right.
It's not random. So flat Earth leads more to creation as opposed to, I mean,
I've never heard somebody.
I used to think about
it's always been people that believe in God that have talked to me about flat Earth, for
Always.
sure.
because it's creation.
Okay, so what do you feel? So,
But wait, you said more stuff.
Okay, yeah,
You
yeah,
said more
yeah,
stuff about
yeah.
levels going on.
Right.
Aliens, aka
That was my question.
AKA
that was my next question.
ETs.
Okay,
What is
extraterrestrial,
ET?
yeah.
Extraterrestrial, extra terrain. Extra from what? From what they're telling us. Extra terrain beyond the wall. We're hearing a lot more about UFOs that submerge underwater
Right,
and come
yep.
up. Remember that movie, The Abyss, that Steven Spielberg did?
Yeah, my wife watches it all the time.
Yeah, hint, hint, hint.
Right.
So that's how I think we go from dome to dome. So at the
Underneath.
very surface level that we're living at, right? We're confined in this dome firmament that I don't know where it ends. Beyond Antarctica somewhere, there's more continents.
Right.
I don't know how far that goes. But at some point,
Right.
that dome will come down, like in Truman Show, like in Hunger Games,
Right.
okay? And then you're going to have to go underground, underwater, or under something to get into the next bubble. So I feel that the whole top
How's
shelf-
your scuba game?
terrible. I'm Jaws screwed me for life.
Terrified.
I'm terrified, and I feel like if I go too far out, I'm gonna get eaten. I'm delicious. I used to use cocoa butter for years. It's got to be in my skin. I mean, I'm delicious.
And you're a Jew, so no bacon in your system.
No. Well, that's why I got baptized.
Yeah, so you could eat
Yeah,
bacon.
I freed myself.
Yeah.
Pancetta
Oh.
scallop. Now I don't have to go to hell for them.
A lot of Philly cheesesteaks in you.
There are a lot of Philly cheese.
There's a Philly cheesesteak place just across the street.
We'll talk about
It's
that later.
trash.
Trash. Why would you even bring it up? So it's not a Philly cheesesteak place.
No, it's not.
If it's trash.
Yeah,
There's no
okay.
bad. Okay, anyway. So I believe there's, at least from readings and stuff like that, there's like 7 levels of life.
So there's
under us.
other people that believe it. You didn't like manufacture this. You've read it. You've seen other people say this. You're
Well-
like, oh, that makes sense.
Well, no, I mean, I've seen old maps where it's like, there's our circle of stuff with the extra continents beyond Antarctica. And then there's another circle that's the Mars area and Venus areas. When they say
Right.
we're going to Mars, we're going to where the ETs are, the extra terrain that way. It's not that way. It's that way.
Okay.
It's that way. So, but how do you get, and then my thing is like, each one of those circles probably has its own dome and its own atmosphere. And then underneath all of that is this woven bark, massive tree looking blah, 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 that has all these other lands, and there's oceans under us. There was a guy, did you ever see those videos where the guy was going through the ocean and he found another ocean, and when he came up to report it, he was silenced immediately?
No, but I would like to see that.
Fascinating.
I'd like to see that.
There's other life down
What's
there.
the book?
Middle Earth.
Who's
Sure.
the book? Who's the guy that wrote the books that like the Journey to the Center of the Earth?
Oh, that's it. I don't know. I could probably look that up. You need a Jamie.
But
like
but
Rogan.
I know Rogan.
Yeah.
Hey, Neil, could you look up who wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth? But I've heard people say that his stuff was really based on real life. Like he really found this stuff. And I know that there are accounts that I have believed. They found real cities like in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Complete lands that were flourishing with green.
Say the word. Say the T word. Say it.
Tartaria. Yeah, that's
Say
it. That's it, right? So tell us about that. Who?
Yeah.
Jules Verne. Jules Verne. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jules Verne I believe Jules Verne was an early flat earther.
Yeah, why wouldn't he be? But see, here's the thing:
because of common sense.
When you use the nomen, and not that you're doing it wrong, but everybody that says, "Oh, it's just a flat earther," there's so many levels to it. Because just like I said, I believe in this sort of thing.
It's kind of a dumbing down of it. It's like, oh, he's a flat earther. He's like, oh,
he's an anti-vaxxer.
right, yeah, right.
Which means you fall under this category, this category, this category, this category.
Right.
Oh, you think we're a pancake floating in Earth? No, that's not what I believe.
Yeah, and then you get banned. How long before they start banning you from talking about flat Earth?
I mean, dude, look at YouTube. They kicked off a ton of videos. And
really?
Oh, they've kicked off so many things. And there's so many, when you have this massive propaganda machine and you have NASA behind you, the Antarctica Treaty is signed by so many countries. You can't just fly there.
But the Nazis really wanted it.
The Nazis got so much technology and stuff from there.
Yeah.
Who was there?
Yeah.
Something's there.
Yeah. I agree with that.
There.
I do agree with that.
Yeah. So there's some other thing going on with Antarctica that they don't want us to know about.
So let's move on. Let me ask you this.
Move on.
We know the why. We know the why. Control.
Control.
Right? What does it change? So this is kind of why I've been agnostic about it. And like, for me, and my personal opinion is, it doesn't change anything about me. Like, if I said today, okay, I believe you. It literally, to me, I don't think it would change. I mean, it would be a mind blow to me. Right. Like, wow, okay, this is bizarre, right? But it doesn't change who I am, my identity as a son of God. It doesn't change my mission to get people saved. It doesn't change God to me. It doesn't change God. It changes, I already think our government lies to us. I mean, that's not a big surprise. I mean, so in some ways it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, it's part of me thinks that, Jason, seriously, like, honestly, it's like, I don't know if I'm smart enough to believe in flat earth, like, because there's a lot of like, science involved in like people, because my father-in-law, man, he starts throwing numbers and circumference and wind velocity and all the same type of stuff. And I'm just like,
but you don't.
I don't even have a clue what we're talking about.
You don't have to be that smart to understand it. Like lighthouses prove the Earth does not curve.
Yeah, I've heard this before. Tell me how does it prove it?
Okay, so if you're on a ball, if we're on a ball, there's a mathematical thing.
So in theory, the light should hit the wall or should go off, right? Instead of,
you wouldn't be able to see a lighthouse from 50 miles away because you'd be so beyond the curve.
Right, you'd be on the other side of the curve.
And your line of sight would be up in the air that you would not see a lighthouse.
Yeah, you would.
And it doesn't
you don't have to be a genius to figure that one out.
Right, and that's the thing. To me, figuring out the truth isn't so much that I'm trying to prove flat Earth is right, as much as it is these other things about this theory don't add up. Because I can prove it using my senses. And that's the thing. They don't want you to use your senses. They want you to believe what they say. Yeah. Trust the science. Trust us.
So what does it change? What does it change for me if I was to believe it today?
You're a man of God.
Right.
So it's not going to change your connection. You understand you're a part of the river of life. You understand that you're special. You understand that using your mind and stuff, things are possible.
Right.
For with God, all things are possible, right? I mean, for with God, nothing is impossible. Luke 137. You're welcome. Look at me quoting shit. It's the only one I know. So I wear it on my neck. So for you, it wouldn't change your discourse. However, it might change how you look at certain issues as far as like, man, we have plenty of oil. It's fine. Or we have all the food in the world. There's all these lands out there that we could be governing. We know that we could live not under tyrannical control.
Right.
There's other land that we could go, but they won't let us.
Right.
So just knowing that knowledge and talking to somebody else about that, it's all about just waking up your own consciousness and understanding, I mean, the very basics of what we live on, where we are in this world and universe.
Right.
When you look at stars, when you look at
what
CGI,
are the other stars? You think that's all CGI?
When you look, they show us CGI. No, we have there's actual footage of what stars are, and they look like lights reflecting in a pool.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Because space isn't a vacuum; it's the fourth dimension of water.
So, do you think that there's other ones of us out there? Like, so do you think that we are
out there? Not out there,
but
out there.
right. So okay, so
But we're a part of them because they're the same energy. I think they're creators of a higher dimension. Than us.
okay, so I guess what I'm saying is like, okay, so this could be astronomically big, like land
And
after
it could
land
be
after land after land.
expanding. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, but at the end of that, if there's an end, it could be infinity. Who knows? But at the end of that, could there be another one of this, multiple layers, blah 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 blah, somewhere else that's not connected to us, but someplace else?
Why not?
And do you think that there's ever a possibility that you go from this place to another place where they're experiencing some of the same things? I mean, is that possible, you think?
Yeah, but I don't think it would be in one of those. Not from our dome through our firmament. We can't get out of it.
You have to go out the bottom. Escape hatch.
Operation Football. Yeah, you have to go this way.
Right.
But that doesn't mean in this other plane thing that they have a different whole
Situation,
setup.
right.
But for the setup that we're recognizing, Operation Fishbowl, they try to blow up the firmament. They can't. We can't get out of
I
it.
think I've heard of that before.
Operation Fishbowl, it's a real thing. Look
gonna
it
have
up.
to check
We
it out.
sent nukes, big bombs, to try to blow it up. Even Hillary Clinton was like, we're going to put a crack in that glass ceiling.
I remember that.
Whatever.
I remember everybody was like, see.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think that the other beings, whatever they are, do you think that they're hostile in other land? Do you think they know about us? Or do you think that they're being controlled by the same kind of, I want to say globalists, but we don't believe in the globe here. So, is that why they say globalists? Is that why they say that? Globe?
Yeah, because they control
the theory, the globe
whole
theory.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you don't want to.
Why does the UN have a flat map?
Oh, why does it? That's a great question.
Isn't that weird?
Isn't it though?
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird.
I mean, even the guy that made the NASA original image of the Earth says and has quoted, I had to take a flat thing and roll it into a ball. He's like, it had to be CGI. And then I added clouds and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
No picture of the Earth looks the same because they're all CGI.
Yeah.
From Japan
I
to
did
China
see
to
something
Russia,
where they talk
none
about.
of them are the same.
I did see something where somebody from NASA admitted that they have to enhance the size of the continents or something like that. And I'm like, why?
Yeah,
why wouldn't you just want to show it the way it was? That was suspect to me.
Oh, Japan just found a couple thousand islands? Oh, you just found islands? Get out of here.
A couple thousand?
Yeah, this was in the news like a week ago.
I didn't
Japan
see
just-
that.
Oh, we found 1,000 islands.
Wait a second. We found 1,000 islands,
Yeah, they
but we
found
have
2,000
how many satellites in the air?
Satellites. This guy.
So what do you think? So what do you think the satellites are?
Well, okay. So doing a little bit of back research, you'll find out that NASA is the largest owner of helium in the world.
So they're
So
weather balloons.
They're like weather balloons,
Right.
You know and they have things, and then they crash and they fall down. If there were so many satellites orbiting our planet, first of all, we should see them.
Because there's supposed to be thousands upon thousands of them.
Satellites everywhere.
I never see them.
Ridiculous.
Right.
It's such a lot.
People say all the time, "Oh, did you see the satellites?" I'm like, "No, I've never seen them."
Right, and you could see something. You could see something floating by if it was on a balloon,
Right.
But you're talking something that you wouldn't even be able to see it because it's so small unless you're looking through microscope.
So what's the end game?
Their end game?
What? Yeah, well, their end game's control. Their end game's control, domination.
And look, they keep making it smaller. We went from something that was a huge big plane. Now they wrapped it in a ball. Now now we're in countries and continents to war each other. Now they're going to make us into 15-minute cities. They don't want us to move. They want okay. And this is where when you were talking about the thought process of how does it change you?
Yeah.
When you know for a fact there's other land of Antarctica, if the world knew that, who's going to stop us from going there and talking to these creatures?
Well, for you, the water.
Well, I swim pretty well. It is. Yeah, that is a factor.
That's a
but
fact.
There's
for me,
yeah.
any kind of exercise.
Yeah. Well, we get in a plane.
Right,
We get in
there
a
we
plane.
go.
The thing is right now, because of the Antarctic Treaty, we can't go past...
You can't fly over it, right?
Yeah, you can't get over the 60th parallel.
So what stops us
down.
from what stops us? I guess CIA type of people, but why don't all the flat earthers just get together and be like, we're going on an expedition here. We're going. We're try to stop us. Get some Navy SEALs on your team, and
Because they will be stopped. I mean, you're talking about these guys,
the most powerful people in the world.
They have jets and aircraft carriers
Biden.
and all kinds of stuff.
You can't. You gotta have some missiles. You gotta have a nuclear bomb. You gotta have a blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You're fake news.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, more
right.
control.
Yeah. Sleepy Biden.
Dude.
We'll just put him right here.
Yeah, if that's even him. I mean,
well, he is not. Yeah, truth.
Yeah. And now with all the AI technology, it's so scary that they can just make anybody look like they're saying anything.
Bro, we've
We're
been
not gonna
talking
be able
about
to trust anything anymore that we see on
I got
TV
warned
at all.
I got warned when I was running for office.
Yeah.
That they can look at me through my technology, and they can make it look like you're looking at something online.
Sure.
That you're not looking at. They can make it look. They can. Elon Musk. Did you see that video where he said somebody asked him, "Well, what's it feel like to lose all that money on Twitter?" And he just laughs at him. He's like, "You guys think I lost money?" He's like, "I'm involved in so much. I'm making more money than that every week or something crazy, right?" And he shows them all this AI stuff, like on this Zoom type of deal he's on, right? He literally in real time is changing his voice to all these different people. He's talking, and it's Biden. It's Biden's voice. Everything, his enunciation, everything about him, and he changed it. He changed it to Sean Connery or whoever it was. I mean, they can do it. They have it all. And of course, he wants Twitter. He's got everybody's personal information. He's the most powerful person in the world now. He really is.
Well, that you know of.
Well, that we know of.
Yeah. I mean, it's a real shame. Like, you mentioned Tartaria and all this, like, ancient old world architecture.
You think people still live there now?
No, it's been
Tartaria?
destroyed.
So nothing there now.
The controllers have destroyed.
Why did they destroy that? What would have been the purpose? Just so we couldn't discover it because it was too close to us?
Well, no, because energy was free. And
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Oh, it was all free energy. All these places, the way their geometry is, and Star Cathedral is a cathode. Those were batteries for the city before they were churches or anything.
Oh, yeah, so that makes sense.
The way all these cities and their architecture was designed was to harness energy. You'll never see.
Do you think Tesla knew about all this? Nikola Tesla
comes at the end of it all. So Tesla helped invent the electricity that the controllers then blew up everything.
Right, because his whole thing was like, look, there's plenty of free electricity. It's like you can just send it through the air, and he did it.
Yeah, you use mercury and you use radon, all these things that they told us is so terrible and toxic and terrible for you. They can't control that stuff because it's so free. So once they figured out that they can make electricity and charge people for it, they destroyed all the free energy. Remember hearing about World's Fairs?
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of stuff about that weird stuff.
At World's Fairs, there are these tremendously gorgeous, intricate architecture that obviously took decades and decades decades to build.
Yeah.
They try to tell you that it was constructed in 2 years, which is ridiculous.
My father-in-law talks about this.
Yeah, and then they destroyed them.
What about that weapon? They talk about this weapon that just levels everything that,
You mean the moon? That could be the Death Star? I don't know. There are times
they base it on something.
There are times in history when there was no moon in the sky. Queen Amidala's outfits in the original Star Wars are based on the last queen of Tartaria.
Really?
I will show you the pictures. It'll blow your mind. That whole thing where it looks like an M on her head, it's the old queen of Tartaria. There's even a Yoda dude that's spoken about.
What?
Green with the friggin' ears. Everything that we have been told is science fiction and fantasy is reality. And all of their science and stuff that they say is fact is fantasy.
Well, on the Christian side of things, prophets have talked about this kind of thing. Like,
I have to tell you this one thing because you're going to love
hit me.
Knights.
Like knights,
in their shining armor.
Yeah.
You think those dudes were running around in hundreds of pounds of armor, swinging swords and fighting?
I think it'd be difficult.
No. How they fought was through alchemy and energy. So there would be
lightsabers, like plasma guns or something.
There would be an energy conductor in the middle of this field. You'd be on one side, I'd be on the other, and using our swords, conducting electricity off of it and zapping you with it, shooting it at you.
Well, it at least sounds awesome.
It's so awesome.
Wow.
Lightsabers and all of that. That's how those guys fought. They didn't fight splashing at each other when you're wearing all this armor. Who are you going to hit with a sword? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You'd be exhausted in 3 strokes.
I'm exhausted thinking about it.
I'm exhausted talking about it.
All right, so in wrapping it up, I don't know that you convinced me.
Did I convince you that there's holes to be poked in this globe theory?
Yes.
And that's all that matters.
Yes.
You got once you start picking apart the holes, then you go that how would the stars all be in the exact same space every night of every year if we're spinning and hurling? That means they're going supersonic fast, but Polaris is just still the entire
Yeah, I heard a guy talking the other day
It's impossible.
about how the light the light from stars at the edge of the universe will never reach us because even though light travels at the speed of light, the universe expands faster than the speed of light. Oh. So even though it should my mind was blown. I'm like, okay, so that's just crazy. That's just crazy, right?
Right.
But
it's fantasy. It's all based on nothing.
Well, here's
probably
the
got
bottom.
high.
The bottom line is, for sure, is that I believe in the Bible, and the Bible talks about flat Earth. And I have personally struggled with that because not only because I was an atheist before I got saved, and I was an atheist because I believe in science. And I kind of portray myself as like, I'm not very smart, but I'm a little smart, And I can tell you that the more mostly I don't believe because in this stuff is because I don't take the time to really research it for myself. And I'm not a big just believe whatever people tell me thing.
Oh, but you are, because that's what science is. It's an indoctrination.
Right.
Since you're a child. You're believing their version of something.
Okay,
it's their own religion.
It is.
But I was
really
the same
is.
way.
No,
I believed all the same stuff. I memorized how big Jupiter was in Saturn. My very great aunt, my whatever.
Well, this is
excellent mother brought me 9 pizzas.
I know we've shared our conspiracy theories. Our rabbit hole. Yeah. Also known as facts.
Yeah.
Because they're not, basically everything we said was true for the last, 3 years.
The only thing I got wrong was thinking that there was this form of government that was going to happen and save us, and Biden wasn't going to go through the inauguration.
Right.
That I was wrong about.
Yeah. Well, many of us were.
Everything else, though, about COVID and everything else.
All true. Lab leak. True.
Well, no. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah. What do you think?
5G.
Oh, you thought it was 5G. Yeah, a lot of people did think it was 5G.
If you look at every influenza outbreak of unrecorded history, it always is predicated by a new technology being rolled out in the air. AM, FM radio, 1G, X-ray.
And so what do you think? Do you think your body just gets used to it? Like people that like the strong survive, and it moves on to another technology.
Yeah, as with everything.
Because the reason I struggled with the 5G thing. I mean, bro, everybody was on the 5G thing. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody we knew, Yeah. I never really got into it, and the reason was, and I hadn't thought about that angle. But the reason I was just like, I would just listen to people. I didn't really believe it. Was because I've been hearing people say that all along, that when 2G came out, I remember people saying it, 3G, 4G.
People got sick.
And and it's true, it's swine flu and, whatever else.
Now they get us looking at the lab leak theory, which, look, they could definitely been making something. Maybe they were making a spike protein aerosol bomb.
Right.
Or maybe they were making the vaccine because we know they had to be making that shit well before COVID hit.
It was already patented.
It was already patented
before it came out.
So they could have been making
That's true. And that's not conspiracy. That's fact.
Right.
So
we don't know what they were making in this lab, but...
No, I think you're right.
Because that's where it all came out.
Yeah.
They brought it out.
So where are you at with chemtrails? Do you think they're
geoengineering?
Yeah, 100%. Well, I definitely believe in HAARP.
None of this is natural.
I mean, here's the thing. I've been on this stuff like HAARP and chemtrails and a lot, Project Bluebeam, all this stuff for almost 20 years. I believed in this stuff when nobody would talk about it, when it was like internet hardly existed, So sometimes I feel like people are catching up, but I never got into the flat earth thing. That was kind of a newer thing for me.
Did you see the thing that formed over Turkey right before their earthquake?
City? Oh,
the country over Turkey. There was this weird thing that almost looked like a like a pink rose with a dark ring in it.
No, I didn't
And there
see
was
that, but I
and we
did
had
see
a
how all the
ship.
power went out.
We had a ship in the water closest to it
Oh, no.
with a harp vessel on top of it.
No, I didn't see
and
that.
thing forms, and then this earthquake, and Biden was like, "Turkey's gonna pay. Turkey, turkey, turkey."
No, I didn't see that.
That's my turkey impression.
But I did.
Yeah.
What about? Remember that, like, where the city formed in the clouds over like China? Do you remember that,
No,
bro? I got to show you this.
that sounds pretty cool.
Oh, it was really bizarre, and it happened a couple times in the same week. This is a few years ago.
But weather manipulation is definitely real. We used those tactics in
I got it.
Vietnam. They elongated monsoon season.
Oh, we already know that they
so
can.
we know they can
see
manipulate
because
weather.
in
So how could you even consider the fact that people are causing a climate change when
sitting
you know
in the
they're changing
clouds,
the climate?
China.
It's so ridiculous. You're telling me farmers are the bad, but cities are okay? It's asinine.
Okay, look at this.
Again, it's all control.
Look at this.
Whoa.
That's in the clouds, bro. What's going on here? Okay. That's it. What are we doing? That's in the clouds. I'll drop a picture of this into the video.
Now, where's the land? Like, are there's
Like
just tall
that's way up in
buildings?
the air. That's way up in the air.
Oh, okay.
It's like a city that's in the clouds. And this was on mainstream news.
Wow.
They had it on mainstream news.
Well, those big, what was it? Captain America, Winter Soldier. Those big hovercrafting.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can cloak those. Those exist.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that there's probably a couple of those up there. Why not? I mean, look, the more I learn, fantasy and all that stuff that we're told is fantasy and make believe is real. And all the things they try to tell us are true are
Okay,
lies.
so here's the ground.
Oh, I see the ground.
Right.
Yeah, so those aren't just really tall buildings.
Right.
Wow.
That's a trip, right? That happened like 2 or 3 times in the same month or something like that. But it's been like 3 or 4 years ago.
There is amazing.
I mean, sure. Yes, I bet. So this is why I kind of stopped up until COVID
So I
happened.
kidnap the cows.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah, because there's no ground up there
that's right. And they take the hearts out. And,
unless it's like Avatar.
I've never seen it.
That's another thing that's probably true.
Avatar?
Okay, you know how certain people have really great connections with animals and stuff, and you never saw Avatar?
I saw the first one.
Okay, so you know he puts his hair in the thing and then
Yes.
he can talk to it? Okay.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
All right, we're going to get really deep here.
Oh, here we go.
This is why white people were created, because we're easier to control than black people that are melanated that have curly hair. Because how does a coil?
I don't know,
when you use
where we're going
conductions-
here.
When you do conductions, coil, right?
Yep,
Coils. Look at our hair. Our hair isn't coiled.
Well, yours is a little crow.
So
You're Jew.
people that are more melanated absorb more energy, are more spiritually connected, and with their hair. So white people, we're like the newest of the human being experiments, right? Black people
Okay.
were everywhere, all over this realm.
Okay.
Okay. the
I just got canceled off YouTube.
slave trade, not a real thing. Were there slaves? Absolutely. Black people were here.
Okay.
They were here already. To think that like Africans couldn't get to America is like, I mean,
That's a little racist.
it's a little racist if you don't think they could figure out shipping. It's so dumb. When the Moors were all over the world.
Oh, they were. That's true.
They were all over the world.
That's true.
Okay, so people were like, oh, well, white people evolved in Scandinavia because there were black Vikings. What are you talking about?
That's
Shut
true.
up.
There were.
So they weren't. White people are easier to control.
Yeah.
Because we're not...
Well, I'm not agreeing with that, but yes, I understand what you're saying.
No, just from a physical standpoint, we can't absorb the energy as well as other people. So we're not as in tune with the earth or
Wow.
whatever.
Okay.
But people like you, Neil, we are...
Wasn't Jesus white?
I don't know.
No,
I think he was kind of Araby.
yeah.
I would think he was
I don't
sort
think he
of
was
Araby.
white. Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure. Yeah.
Maybe he could have been.
More-
I mean, but
yep.
I don't know. Wasn't
He was
there?
definitely an Arab.
Didn't see the yearbook photo. You know.
He called in sick that day. Jesus wouldn't call in sick though. I guess he was sick.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't have gone to that school. Well, no, he would have because he was raised Jewish
Yeah.
for a hot minute.
Yeah. Hot second.
Yeah.
The informative years.
But that goes back into all the controlling aspects of everything and how they want to control people and keep everybody in.
You really just went the distance on this thing.
I've gone the distance many hours.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm a lonely person.
yes, we need to help you. The reason one of the reasons I had stopped kind of pursuing conspiracy theories was I felt like my life got darker the more that because it's like everything's negative. It's all negative. It's like, I think it was almost like I just want to take the blue pill. I just want to be okay.
I can see that happening. For me, it was the opposite.
Okay,
because
it was an awakening for you.
Now I saw through the matrix. Now
Right.
I know the truth. Now being more connected to God because I understand my role better.
Right.
I know I was created. I know for a fact I didn't evolve from a single cell organism.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
know something better than me created me, and I'm connected to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
And we're all connected to it.
I can see that.
We're all connected to it. And now it's about channeling our energies, because in the beginning, we were out there yelling and fighting and blah, blah, blah. Even though we weren't forcefully trying to change people's mind, it was like, you need to see these facts. You need to know what you're doing and putting in your body.
That's right.
And that caused other people to yell back at us.
Yeah.
And, some people woke up.
We saw some good people wake up.
In the moment, in that time, our good intentions got overrun by counter arguments, which then to the energy of the whole thing only help the controllers more.
Right. Absolutely.
We all have free will.
Yeah.
That's the greatest gift God can give us. And you have to respect their decision because they're not ready to wake up yet.
Yeah, that's true.
And
So what now?
And that's okay.
So what now? What now? So
what now for Jason Lefkowitz?
I mean, what now for people that believe it? I know you said it's like, now we wake up, we try to wake other people up. What? It's so, if this is true, it's the most powerful organization in history that's ever existed. What in the world could you do to fight against it?
Mass noncompliance is the only way. If everybody within the military knew this information,
right?
If all the goons that these people hire to kill people, we're
not hiding it anymore.
We're like, no,
right?
If we just turned away from them peacefully, too,
so really,
it could all be over.
It's kind of like what we've been saying about other stuff. It's going to have to get worse for people to want to fight against something like that. So basically, everybody at the lower end of the spectrum that's still getting paid to hide it, they're going to have to start suffering for them to be like, we're not covering this up anymore. We're fighting against it. We're going to start sharing it. And there are some people, you're saying, right? So it's going to have to be mass hunger, mass this, mass that, to be like, you know what? There's plenty of food out there. Why are we tolerating this? We're tired of seeing other people get hurt, and we're participating in it. So there has to be an awakening.
Well, it's happening. I mean, look, if you wanted to fight America without going to physical war with soldiers and stuff like that, what would you do? How would I invade another country without fighting? Well,
it's called the silent invasion. That's what I do.
If I wanted to kill their people, I'd probably find a way to poison their water, poison their food, make them take injections that could be poison. You just want to kill them out because you have a longer game.
Right.
It's not like you need this now. Evil or dark forces, whatever, they're planning decades ahead.
Right.
Agenda 2030, they wrote how long ago? Then they have a 2050. So it's all happening. I mean, I think in 2024, Newsom is going to run and he's going to win. And that's going to be the awakening because a lot of blue states don't want California. Yeah.
Here's what's going to happen, I believe, with that. I believe that they're going to pay Kamala a big chunk of money to go take a job somewhere, resign from being vice president. At that point, Biden can appoint whoever he wants as vice president. There doesn't have to be any kind of election or anything. He just appoints them. So he'll appoint Newsom as his new vice president. And then Biden won't run. He'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to run. Or he'll retire. He'd be like, for health reasons, he'll step down, or they'll kill him off, something like that. And then either he's
already dead.
Which there is that theory. So either Newsom will just take the presidency without ever having to run, and then run as an incumbent president, or Biden just says, I'm not gonna run in 2024, and Newsom will run as an incumbent vice president against whoever, whether it's Trump or DeSantis or whoever. That's what I think is going to happen. Let it be known. You heard it first here.
And either way, it all needs to go.
Right.
Like Republican, Democrat, blah, 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 they're not for the people.
No.
Trump
no.
sees facts.
We've been saying that for a long time.
They're not for the
people. We're all
people.
pawns in the same game.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all pawns in the same game.
It's all control.
And probably another podcast, but you know, you and I both were kind of, you know, I was a Trump guy. I loved him.
He said some great stuff.
Said some great things. I was disappointed in how it went down in the end. I thought that he would fight for us more at the end. You know, he had the ability to pardon people that should have been pardoned that he didn't. Yes, Snowden, all those guys, right?
But he got that rapper
the people
out of
from right. The people from J6, you know.
Them. Yeah, all of them
that were there for him. You know, and then he pushed the vaccine. I was really disappointed with that. You know, now hypothetically, you could say, well, maybe he was just being lied to and whatever. But you know, which may be the case now, because you heard that. I don't know if you heard about the fact that China sent weather balloons over the United States when Trump was president.
They say that. And Trump, they never told Trump because they were afraid Trump would bomb China. They're like, so all the generals that are responsible they're supposed to be loyal to the president, didn't tell him that China had spy balloons over the United States because they were afraid of what his response would be. That's treason, by the way. That's 100%.
That's hanging problems.
Yeah.
But another day. So, well, I can say this. You've inspired me to dig. You've inspired me to dig. And I will make this I'll make this commitment that if I dig, and I will, and I'm convinced that I will publicly say that I'm convinced. And I have friends.
But you don't have to say you're a flat earther. You could just say, I don't believe we're on a spinning ball.
Yeah.
Because that's the first step.
I got to tell you, when I went public about saying I didn't believe that we landed on the moon, I might as well just dragged a child out in the street and beat him in front of everybody. People they love their sacred cows, you know?
And that one is so obvious to pick apart.
Yeah, everything about it.
The machine that
we lost we lost the technology to go to the most powerful country in the world lost the technology to go to the moon.
The interview with Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, they all look so depressed.
Like, oh, we got to say this again.
They just do the greatest thing in human history, right?
Ever.
They're all just like, yeah.
It just and just to be honest, it just makes sense to me.
The bubbles, you know about space bubbles? Because it's all underwater. Right?
Oh, yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
they film, the ISS, which is all bubbles.
Yep.
It's all underwater. So in some of the films and stuff, you'll see bubbles come up.
Yeah, I think I remember everything about it.
Does that work in your vacuum?
There's everything about the story just doesn't make sense. But I've always said that I did believe that we went at some point after. I have believed that we've been to space. I'll have to reassess that. You know?
I think we can get to the moon, but it's not with a ship. It's through some sort of
like a vacuum situation,
like a portal.
Right.
Like you walk in a door and you're there.
Well, that's a little biblical, actually.
That would make sense.
The Bible talks about portals to heaven, like basically Jacob's ladder. Angels were ascending and descending through a portal. Did you know that? Now you do.
I know that now.
Now you do. And the Bible talks about second and third heavens too. So that different levels of
and
heaven and giants. And I do believe
totally exist.
I believe that.
And a lot of mountains were ancient trees.
I believe that. Down. Yep. The one that in Arizona or Idaho or Wisconsin, Wyoming or wherever.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Dragons existed.
Yeah.
So why is all of that kept from us?
You know, I had read a story and, where are we at? We're an hour and 3 minutes in. So
I got another hour.
I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute. But I had read a story when I was in college, in seminary, that talked about the flood. And in this story, and I've always believed it and still believe it. In this story, man and dinosaur and every living being that's ever existed lived here at the same time. And then God opened up the firmament and the rains came, right? That's Genesis. Now, the interesting thing about it is, why is it that, you know, dinosaurs existed then, don't exist now? I don't believe in the asteroid thing.
Are you talking about dinosaurs? Are you talking about Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Well,
That's
I don't
not a-
necessarily believe any of that
That's
either.
not a real thing.
Yeah.
There are giant lizards and things like
Yes.
that, but those things are made out of chicken bones. It's all a farce.
Yeah.
Just like
yes.
NASA.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I've read a lot about how, like, museums just put stuff together, just random,
Yeah.
whatever. But
They've never found a
But
whole
the
dinosaur.
reason that they existed then and don't exist now is because we lived in a terrarium at the time where it didn't rain. It was just all basically like tropical, right? Well, in the right atmosphere, things will grow exponentially and forever. That there are fish that exist today that they don't know when they die. It's like the turtles, the big Galapagos turtles or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, they're like 700 years old. I don't know if this 700, 200. I don't know how old.
Yoda was 800.
Can we look that up? How long does a Galapagos turtle? Is that the word? Galapagos?
Sounds right.
I'm trying to pull a Joe Rogan here.
Galapagonian.
Turtle live. But the reason they would live so long is because it was a perfect atmosphere. Because it was we were in a terrarium.
And it doesn't eat GMOs or take vaccines.
and then there's all that.
Because we could live a lot longer too.
Oh, sure we can.
don't have to
Well, the
age.
Bible talks about, living at least to 120 some.
The longest on record lived to be 175.
100 turtle?
Yeah, the Galapagos.
Even still, 175 years.
Yeah, they're changing Google too. Have you noticed that?
That's
They'll
a
change
lot
the
of
facts on
domain
Google.
addresses. Yeah, of course, because Google's a control company.
Yeah, but anyway, at any rate,
whose search engines and stuff were Adreno and Chrome.
right. Well, there you go. Wow.
Yeah. And they're also in bed with GlaxoSmithKline, who's a vaccine company.
Wow.
If you're trying to look up anything important and you're using Google,
DuckDuckGo, maybe. I mean, they're all sold out.
Yeah.
Just to be honest. So anyway, at any rate, the perfect atmosphere ceased to exist at that point, right? So then things didn't grow as long or whatever. And there's evidence worldwide evidence in every historical culture about the Great Flood.
oh yeah,
The Great
mud
Flood existed.
Yeah.
It happened for sure.
That happened with Tartaria.
Yeah. It happened. It happened for sure.
Recently, the last reset was only maybe 200 years ago.
Really? You think that's 200 years ago?
Yeah, right before all the World's Fair. Okay, so the flood happens.
What about the
Some
babies?
happens.
Have you seen the baby museums?
The incubators
That's
and stuff.
trip.
You can order a baby
Yeah.
because there was no population.
So were they just making
We
those
might even
babies
be
in?
like ants.
You think they were just making those babies
Yes.
in, like
Kinda
bioengineering?
how- yeah, like Elon Musk and Bill Gates want to do, like
Wow.
the Matrix. Because all the people are
That's
they're
weird.
They're going to die.
It's weird
And-
because if
yeah.
you look at that time where they had all the world fairs and stuff, do they even do world fairs anymore like that? I've never seen one.
No.
But so they looked so science fiction-y, like
ancient Rome,
like
on steroids.
right? But like super advanced.
Super.
All the technology looks super advanced. Like what did we do with this stuff? This technology,
Not
where'd
a
it go?
power cable anywhere.
No, Tesla was in the background, whoosh, shooting his beams of light, like the lightsaber from the middle of the battle. Yeah. So, but anyway, you inspired me to go deeper. If I'm convinced, I'm going to I'll bring you back on.
Cool.
And I'll publicly, and I'll share with you what is there. There has to be, in my experience, there's always one piece of information that tips it for me. It's like, I'll hear things, I'll see things, I'll read things. I'm like, yeah, could be, but I'm not convinced, but there's always some piece of information that's the tipping stone for me.
My main ones that got me were using a zoom in camera and seeing a boat that should be technically over the horizon.
Right.
It comes right back in view, the bottom of the boat, no matter how far it goes. As long as you can view, you can see that.
Right.
The lighthouses, planes, how they land in emergencies and stuff, the sun corpuscular rays. That proved everything.
That was everything you needed to know.
That's all I needed to know that I wasn't on a ball.
Well, and then you have you have a whole encyclopedia of different issues. Like one issue is, okay, so we're not on a globe. Okay. So that's one.
yeah.
Two would be that, okay, we're all being controlled by a globalist agenda of some sort, whatever you call it. That's another one. Three is there's all kinds of lands that may or may not exist, downwards, overwards, underwards, through the ocean, whatever it is. You have an encyclopedia of different theories that I'm going to have to process.
Well, just imagine for a second if people didn't focus their time on things and being consumers and were like, let's go explore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, they
Like,
keep
then
us.
they
They
couldn't
keep us too
control
busy
you
to
at all,
explore,
'cause you'd be
right?
like, I'm going over Antarctica and I want to go see what
we can't do
this
that.
thing
We
is.
got to work for them.
You got to work for them.
Yeah, we're
They
we're
want your
basically
tax
enslaved
money.
now. We're enslaved now.
We're 100% slaves.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, this is Jason Lefkowitz. Lefkowitz.
Yeah.
I've got his shirt. I should have wore your shirt today.
No, that would
I've wore that shirt on a couple of podcasts. It's good. It's a good looking shirt. Do you still make shirts?
not really.
You should make them. You should still make shirts. Anyway,
I can make them. I just
have you thought about writing a book? Like you should write a book. Now, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to tell you after we're off air so nobody steals it. Guys, peace out and shalom, everybody. Thanks for listening to Unleash with Derrick Gates. Peace out, everybody. God bless you.
So fresh, so
That was good.
that was awesome. That was fun. What should I write a book about?
about?